Man, collectively and individually, as families and schools and churches, everything has been thrown upside down. Um, it was like a collective adrenaline got us to what we thought might be the finish line of a sprint. And so many of us out there, I know, like me, are doers. You know, we see a challenge and we rise to meet it. We see an obstacle and we make a way around it. We're told something no longer works, and guess what we do? We create something new. Our innovation, our creativity, and on the fly thinking, all of that is what got us here, and we can handle it. But the other day I found myself thinking, after all this changing and amending to life in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic, now what? Because the truth is, there's only so much that we can do to change, right? To pivot. And then we wait, and we wait some more, and then waiting starts to be the hardest part because we aren't moving, we're just being. For a lot of us, especially me, even more than pivoting in this whole time, the waiting asks more of me, right? Because now there's nothing for me to do but to wait. And I'm not gonna lie, the waiting is not easy for me. In fact, more than the early days of quarantine, the past couple days have sometimes felt more like despair, right? There doesn't seem to be an end in sight. They keep moving the days back, and we're told things still might get worse before they get better. The days are starting to all resemble one another. You know, I don't even know what day of the week it is, right? What now? I saw a picture of a sunrise the other day, but it was before the sun had actually appeared above the horizon line. The sky was various shades of purple, orange, pink, just all kinds of colors, and the darkness was slowly starting to ebb before the dramatic appearance of the sun. And looking at the picture, I thought of something. Though the dark seems empty, it's not. It's actually where the most important work begins. In the beginning is when the darkness was there. It was in the void. In Mary's womb, Jesus waited in darkness, right? In the tomb, it's where he waited while he waited for the life to be breathed back into his lungs. God always does his best work in the dark. And maybe nothing feels more necessary for us to believe today than that. That dark isn't a place where God has left, but where God is preparing. The dark isn't where God is absent, but where God is moving. The dark isn't where hope is lost, but where hope is generated. The dark isn't the end of the story, but a necessary part of the story. These days of isolation and change and pivoting and all sorts of normal life is dark. And in some ways, I'm not sure we'll ever return to life as we knew it. Just acknowledging that, just thinking about that is difficult. But I think there is a reason that in some of the most powerful stories from Scripture, we aren't just told about what comes from the dark, but we are told that the darkness exists. It's okay to see these days are hard. It's okay that there are days when getting out of bed to do another day of this feels impossible. It's okay that there are days when the grief of what we thought our plans and relationships are going to look like in this season, they aren't what we thought. It's okay to say that the dark feels impossibly long and that there doesn't seem to be any end in sight. It's okay. All of that is okay. In the waiting, we acknowledge the dark, and we believe even when it doesn't feel like it, even when circumstances tell us differently, even when it feels contrary to our current reality, we believe God has not abandoned us in the dark, but is working in the midst of the darkness. It's the in-between days when we've adapted to the change, when we have already pivoted, but there is no light yet at the end of the tunnel that will be the darkest, when we have nothing to do but wait. So my encouragement to you today is this: let's wait together, let's hope together, because God is still working.